Hello and welcome to Sketch Together. My name is Pablo Stanley, and today we're going to learn how to create a left navigation bar using nested symbols with Sketch. Pretty cool stuff. And this is part of a crash course on designing your own UI framework. So check out the other videos. And today's tutorial is divided in two parts. The first part is just a walkthrough of my process. We're going to see something that is already created and just going to tell you how I did it. And then the second part, we actually built our own from scratch. And today we're going to need, for a tutorial, for you to download the resources. You also need the plugin that is called Icon Font and also the material font from Material Design from Google. And also Auto Layout. This plugin is pretty cool. You need that plugin. And more than anything, you need to get excited to learn. And there's a little egg because it's excited. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we're going to be building a left navigation bar, and these kind of navigations are usually really good for dashboards or content management systems or messaging, mailing apps, I don't know, for a lot of apps. So let's actually just see some examples of some apps. Like, for example, if you're watching this on YouTube, you probably are very familiar with this left navigation bar here. You can hide it, you can show it. Another one will be WordPress. WordPress has this left navigation bar, has text fields, and also has the an icon there. And let's see another one. This one is getplan.co. It's like a calendar thing. And as you can see, it has text and an icon. Pretty cool. Also, Inbox has very similar. Those are just some examples. Let's see what we are actually building. So the menu that we're building looks something like this, where you have two versions of the same menu, one where it's minified and one where it's expanded. Probably the expanded one has labels and it's a little bit wider, and probably the notifications align in a different way. And also the minified one is just the icon, everything is centered, and also has an avatar on the top and a name and some probably the company name. And as you can see here, also we have it in different colors. So we're going to learn how to do that and also do it with nested symbols. And this is how it could look inside a page. And the cool thing here is that it's resizable. So if you want to resize it like this, or you want to resize it like this, oops, let me make this a little bit smaller so we can actually see it. There you go. So you can resize it, and we're going to learn how to put all those elements in a way that you can resize it in your design and it's going to be okay. So let me undo that. And let's go here to my symbols. This is where all the magic happens. And for this, I'm using the atoms, molecules, and organisms design system, and from the atomic design, just to explain it in a way. So everything starts with atoms. And here on the atoms, I'm starting with what is the icon, all the branding stuff, which is the logo and the colors, probably the, let me zoom in so we can see. Here I said which are my my palette of the primary, the secondary, the dark, and the dank, the dank color, and my logo. And then I have icons, and the icons are going to be used in different ways. On this particular example, it's going to be just used on our menu, but these icons could be used in different occasions. And I have another one that is just particular for the menu, which is the notification. And then with those elements and other elements, we start building more complex elements, the molecules. And these molecules have the font, have different symbols inside them. And something that I didn't put here on the atoms, I didn't put it as a symbol, but also your text styles could be part of your atoms, but not for this example, but it's something that probably you want to do. So you have your molecules, and these are consisted of different symbols that are inside them, and like a more complex stuff, which is like the avatar and different text styles. And then those are combined to create an organism like a left navigation bar. And this left navigation bar has this symbol, which is the top left navigation, and then it has all the different cells. For example, this cell is over here as a symbol that has a label and has an icon and has a notification. And over here, it has those arranged in a certain way. I can use the logo here, and all of these are the same. All of these cells are the same symbol, just with different instances. And over here, there's a minified version of that symbol. So over here, I have it as a cell that has a label, notifications here, and the icon, and another one that is minified, where it's just the icon without the label. Okay, so, and then here, let me go a little bit deeper into explaining this. So here I have my logo, and the logo is just the logo. I put Muchas as the logo. And then here on the palette, these are actually just rectangles. As you can see here in the layers list, these are just rectangles that I can use. And I also add them as graphic styles too. So they're not just the symbol, but they're also a graphic style. As you can see here on the right on the inspector. And all these just like have different graphic style. And over here we have the icons. The icons are just the shapes, and they are all in a grid of 32 by 32. And my icons are just centered there. And my icon right now, it's at it's white with 60% opacity. This is optional for you. You can just have it at 100% opacity here and probably change the opacity over here at 60%. For now, I'm just keeping it at 60% from over here, but that's something that you probably want to change if you want to use it in different instances. So over here, I have all my icons. And then I have the notification bar, which has a circle, which is pretty simple, just a circle shape, and then a layer, a text layer on top of it. And this text layer, I already tested it to be like, if I want it to be 44 or 99, it will still fit. So let's keep it at 4. And let's go over here, and over here I have my icon, but over here this icon is actually the symbol that is calling one of these symbols. And over here I put a label here on to name it as a glyph, and you can name it whatever you want, but I added also an emoji just to make it fun. And over here, this text layer, which is on the overrides, is going to be called label. You can call it whatever you want. And then here I added another icon that is going to be the notification one. And this whenever we use this cell, we can turn it on or off, depending if we want to simulate that it has a notification or not. And then this one is pretty much the same as this one. Oh, something that I forgot to mention is also that it has the state is also there. So the state is selected here, and you can see it here. Pretty cool stuff, right? The state is there, and also over here, the state is actually over here. This state is just a layer that has a white layer with a 20% opacity, and that way I can say which cell is selected and which one it isn't. And over here, I have the same as this, but without the text label, and I also put this at 8 pixels and 8 pixels here, and over here 16, 16 and 8 on the side, and 16 and 16 on the top and on the left. And here, since it's really close to the icon, I wanted to make it look like it was on top of the icon. Okay, so then we have our state selected, and then we have our oops, sorry, I zoomed in a lot. And then we have our top, which is has the avatar that we can override also later. And we have our text, 2 text layers, one for the name and one for the company, and where this person is working. And this is all of these are optional. And then something also that I want to tell you is how I put these elements inside. So here, this one, the pick is actually pinned to the corner, and you're going to say, why is it not floating? And the thing is that I don't want to float it because if I were to resize it vertically like this, then I don't want it to go down. I always want it to be with the same panning on the top. And since it's centered and pin it to the corner, it's always going to be in the center because it's pinned to this corner, and to this corner. So it's going to be okay if I pin it to the corner. It's going to look like it's floating in place, but also if I resize my menu vertically, it's going to remain always there on the top and also centered. The same goes to these. These are actually resized object, and since these are text layers, they're not going to like actually move. They're going to be okay there. So these elements over here are the same, pinned to the corner, and these ones are resized. And over here, I have my icon is pinned to the corner. This one is resized. That way it's going to be resized, but it's also centered. And this guy is also pinned to the corner, the notifications. And the same goes for this one because I always wanted to have the same padding. And obviously this one too. This one, I didn't put it pinned to the corner, put it float in place. and also the background, which is and probably this could have actually be pinned to the corner and will be fine. But I set it to float in place and it's going to be fine too. Again, why? Why float in place and pin to corner is going to be the same? Because it's just centered. It's centered and it's going to give you the same results. It's centered in the canvas, so it's going to be the same. And here is the menu, the state. The state, I have it in stretch, and over here I have it in stretch too, which is the state, and you can see it here. Perfect. And right now it looks like it's have a dark color, and I added a background color to it just for me to preview how the elements look, but it didn't include it in the export. So you can see here in the menu on the right that it didn't include it in the export. That way I can change the color on the actual organism, on the actual menu. I'm going to show you later how to add the color. So now that I have all of that, then I can start adding all of these are different cells, are different instances of the same, and I put it inside a group. And this group, I actually put the group, I put it pinned to the corner, but I also made it that is pinned to the left and to the right using the auto layout plugin. That way it will also grow to the left and to the right. It's not just going to keep the padding from the top, but it's also going to be growing. So I had to combine both the resizing, the native resizing from Sketch, which is pinned to corner, and also the one from auto layout, which is pin it to the left and to the right. That way it will also grow and not just only keep the padding. So that's one way that I fixed it. That if you have a different way to fix this, that is just using the native options, please let me know, because that was the only way for me to allow a vertical resizing and not screwing it up. And I have another layer here. This is just here you're going to see on the color, and it's on the background, and it's pretty much this guy. Remember, we were talking about in the items a color. I just added this a symbol. I put it here, and that way later when I'm using this menu, I'm going to be able to change the color because all these colors have the same size. By the way, if you want to learn how to use nested symbols a little bit better, you should go back to my first video where I discuss buttons. And I go a little bit deeper on the understanding how nested symbols work on Sketch. But the basic rule is that on the overrides, you're going to see a list of overrides of symbols, only the symbols that are the same size. So since the colors over here, all of these artboards are, the height and the width are 25 pixels. These are the only ones that are going to be showing all my overrides on the menu. Unless I have other symbols that are also that size, then those will also show. And over here, since these are 32 by 32, only the ones that are size 32 and 32 are going to be shown on a list of overrides on my nested symbols. So that's a cool trick to organize your symbols too. You want to organize them also by size. So I have that, I have my color, and over here I just put the logo also, and I actually locked it. That way, let me just select the whole artboard. So I locked the logo. That way it will not appear on my overrides, and the logo is always the same, so I keep it there, and that way I will not have to override it. It will not appear on the overrides. Let me zoom out a little bit. So, and this one is the same, pretty much the same. I just use, instead of the menu cell, I'm actually over here using menu cell minified, as you can see. And pretty much the rest is the same. I just made it a little bit narrower, and this one is 64 pixels wide, and this one is 184 pixels wide. It could be 180, so it's 8 pixel width, whatever you want. Then let's see how it works over here. So I'm going to see this one, for example, and this one, let me actually make it a little bit smaller. The cool thing is you see how I made it small, and it's not affecting any of the elements here. And I also, if I were to resize it from here, everything is keeping its size, it's keeping its position how it should be, which is pretty cool. And that's because we were very careful with our resizing. So let's say that I want to make a little bit smaller than this, and I want to make my menu super big. I don't know why, but let's make it super big. So, and then also my artboard, I'm going to make it this size. And around there, and I also want to make it taller, and see how everything falls into place. That's the cool thing about resizing and pinning your elements the right way. Now let's take a closer look at all the overrides that this symbol has. So if we were to select it, you're going to see a huge list of all the overrides that it has. And it's pretty cool because it gives you a lot of control, so you can customize it. And let me zoom in here and put it next to overrides panel, just so you can see the difference in how we override something, and we can see it here next to it. So for example, you can, on the top symbol that has the name of the person, and also, let me zoom in, has the name of the person and also the name of the company, I can override it here. So instead of Chavela Vargas, let's say Frida Kahlo. And then also instead of that corporation, let's call it Kahlo Corps. There you go. And you can also change the avatar of it, of the person. And also all the different cells here, you can start renaming them, changing their icon, and also putting if some of them has notifications of not. So here, for example, cell 1, it has the notifications turned on, and it has a notification instead of 4, let's say that it has 9 notifications. And the glyph, right now it's selected the dashboard, but if I wanted to, I could select something else. And here, instead of home, it could be called dashboard, for example. And there you go, dashboard. And if we wanted to, we can also say which one is selected. So for this one, let's say that the dashboard is selected, and I can go ahead and just select that. And now I'm saying that the dashboard is selected. But if I wanted to, you say none, and you can say that the calendar is selected. So you go over here to the next to the calendar, and then now the calendar is selected. And that's a cool thing about this. You're using the same symbol, and you will be able to use it in different instances in your prototype or in your design, where in different places, different things are selected, and different things have different notifications. And so yeah, that's cool. These are all the labels of everything. You can change the icon, you can change the label, you can change the state, and also you can change the color of it. Remember, we were putting the color as the background of the whole thing. So we can do that here. Right now it's using the dark color, but here I actually put it as the last symbol. Instead of the dark one, I'm going to change it to the primary. And you can see it here that it changed there, secondary, whatever you want. If you want to experiment with different colors, you can go ahead and do that. Something really cool that I love to do if you want to make it really cool and fancy. For example, here on the primary palette, you can also add a gradient if you want to. And I just add one gradient. So I turn it on and off. So that's off, and then I turn it on. And then if I go to my menu, you're going to see here, if I were to select the primary one, there you go. And then it has that really cool gradient across your background. Okay, so that's it. That's the walkthrough of my process. Now, if you understood everything, you can just turn this off, the video, and just download the resource. This resource is available on the links. But if you want to also come with me while we actually build one of these, you can stay in this video and just like walk with me through this adventure of creating a left navigation bar. Okay, so let's build a left navigation bar from scratch. And I listed a set of requirements and also some steps. The requirements are we need to have an avatar, a name, a company name, the cells with different options, and also needs to have a selected state, notification state, and also some branding, which is the color and the logo. And the steps that we're going to take is making the colors into symbols, and also adding some icons, and then putting the avatar stuff, creating the cells with different states, and then the menu. Easy. It's gonna be easy. So let's start with the first thing, which is the colors. I know it sounds crazy to start with the symbols, but sorry, with the colors, but I like to start that way. And you don't have to do it this way. This is just a way for me to start. The first thing that I want to do is I'm going to create a rectangle, just whatever size you want. It has to be a weird size though. You don't want it to be a 24 or 32 or 16, something like that, because probably you're going to be using that size for your icons or for other things. You just want it to be a weird size. That way, whenever you are going to override the colors, you're only going to see the colors that are that size, the symbols that are that size. So I'm going to give it 78. 78 is good. And let's start by adding a color to it. I'm going to go with a pretty cool blue. This is going to be my primary color. Okay, so, and I'm going to go ahead and change the name of it to color, and I'm going to create a symbol with it. Create a symbol, and I'm going to call it palette slash primary, and that's going to be my first symbol. And there you go, I have it as a symbol. And now I want to go to my symbols page and start editing this. And I'm actually going to copy all of these steps and I'm going to put them on my symbols page too. So I'm going to here on the symbols, and now I have my symbol with the colors here. I'm going to go over here and just to so I can remind myself what the hell am I supposed to do. Okay, I don't need this. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate it and 3 times, and I'm going to create my palette. And this one, instead of primary, I'm going to call it secondary. And then this one, instead of primary, I'm going to call it, I don't know, dark, my dark color or my black color. And this one is going to be gradient. Well, I don't know why. It's probably not the best way to create a palette, but that's how I do it. So the secondary color is going to be probably a lighter blue, the same blue. Let's see it, make it probably actually changing the hue so it's a little bit greener and around there. And then my dark color is going to be really dark color around there. And my gradient, I'm just going to change this to a gradient, and it's going to be actually the same blue but with a gradient. So I'm going to copy that hex code, and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to put it over here too, the same hex code, so I can just start editing. Okay, so I have it as a starting point. I'm going to change this one over here, and this one, actually this one, I'm going to make it a little bit pink around there. It's really nice and pink. And I'm going to change my gradient from one corner to the other corner. And it's going to be a nice option there for our menu. Okay, we have our primary colors. We're actually not going to use it until later, but it's okay to start that way. Now we need to start adding icons. And remember, I told you to install the plugin that is called Icon Fonts. There's a link to that. And here, you're going to find it here. Once you have installed plugins, Icon Font, there are many options here that you can select. And we're going to be using the material design icon font. So I just select that from grid insert material, and I can start searching the different symbols that I want to insert. So one of them was dashboard or home. I'm going to actually put home. I'm going to select, and there you go. I have my icon there, and I have it here, and let's start actually adding our symbol for it. So I'm going to make it a 32 by 32 symbol. So I'm going to put it all the way here, and I'm going to center this. Just put a rectangle just so it gives me an idea of what it is. Zoom in, 32 pixels. So this guy should be around here, centered perfectly. It's a 24 size inside a 32 pixel grid. I like that. I'm going to actually change this to a dark color, my background to a dark color, and the icon is going to be white. There you go. I have my icon that is white. I'm going to make it centered, and I'm going to make the size of it from left to right, the size of this whole thing. I'm going to center it. There you go. It's centered, and it's 4 and 4 pixels here. Perfect. Now I'm going to turn this into a symbol, and I'm going to put create symbol, and I'm going to call it glyph slash home. There you go. So over here now, it is as a symbol here. So this is just an instance of the symbol, but the actual symbol where I can edit now was created over here. I'm going to put it here so I can start adding more symbols to it. And I'm going to create, what are the symbols I need to create? I need to home, settings, messages, users, and calendar. So that's 5 different symbols. So I'm going to duplicate this. 3, 4, 5. I have the 5 of those, and now I can just select this guy. Oh, and actually, before doing that, I needed to remove this layer. I don't want the black layer anymore. So I'm going to select all of this, and I don't want that. But I do want to be able to see what the hell is going on there, right? And white background with white icon, you cannot see it. But what you can do is change the color of the background of your symbol. You change the color to a dark color. There you go, now you can see it, but you don't want to include it in the export. So you turn off include and export here. And that way, whenever you have the instance of that symbol, it would only be the white color of it. Okay, there you go. So now I'm going to change this. I can select this and go to plugins, icon font, grid insert, material. And you can do that. And now let's change it. This one should be, what was it? Settings. Let's search for settings. And I like this one, so I just changed it there. That's pretty cool, right? That's what I love about this plugin. So have settings, messages, users. I'm going to have a really horrible memory, so just going to put it over here. we already have home, so we already have settings, but we need messages, users, and settings. So in calendar. So I'm going to go with this guy and users. I'm going to go to clipboard fill. Sorry, icon font, grid insert, material again. And here, I'm pretty sure they don't have user, but let's say user has that. That's not cool, but we can try different keywords. For example, person. And there you go. That's one. I think I like that one. And calendar. And I'm pretty sure, which is weird, it doesn't have calendar either. Let's try it. But it has today. So grid insert material and calendar. It has that one, but I don't like that one. But let's search for day. And now it has this one. I like that one. And I think this is one for today. There you go. I changed it there. And we need one for calendar and also messages. So let's change this one. Plugins, icon font, grid insert, material, and this one is going to be messages. Message, search it. I like that one. That looks good. Okay, cool. So one thing too that you want to do here is since this is it's an icon font, but it's also text, you probably don't want this to be an override if you want to treat this as an icon that is always going to be the same. So what you can do since again, this is text, so you can override it in your symbols because it's an icon font. What you can do is lock the layers. You lock the layers, and that way it will not be overridden on your symbols. And that's one way to do it. Another way to do this is to actually just have one symbol that is the icon, and you just have one generic symbol, and then you can just override it with your icon font. But I find that a little bit difficult because I don't, unless I actually knew the codes to put the icons, it will be hard for me to override it. That way, I just create my icon, the ones that I want to use. I created this way, and then I can override them later without me having to input the code. So that's my way to do it. I can just go ahead and lock these layers. So I'm going to go ahead and lock these over here. I just press Option, and then I hover over it, and I just see if I don't press Option, then you get the little icon to hide the layer. But I don't want to hide it. I want to lock it. So I press Option, and then I'm able to lock it. There you go. Okay, so now that it's locked, I cannot select it, but it's also not going to be, we're not going to be able to override it later. Okay, delete that. We don't need that. Let's just start creating our first cell. And our cell is going to be using this icons and also a text label. So let's make our cell, what do you think? Let's make it, I don't know. Let's make it probably 64. Yeah, 60. Let's build it first by just seeing. So I'm going to start glyph home. Let's put it over here, and I want this to be 8 pixels here, 8 pixels here, and 8 pixels below. So I'm going to go over here, and this guy needs to be 2 pixels more. So actually I need it to be my cell to be 48 pixels height. And I'm going to add a background color, that way I can see what I'm doing in there. And I'm also including export. I'm going to say no. I'm going to make it a dark color, just a dark color, just so I can see what's going on. Now I have it here, have my icon, and I can put a text label. So I'm going to add a text label that says home. Why not? And then I'm going to make it white, and I'm going to change the size of it to probably 14 pixels. That's a good size. You can make it 16, whatever you want. I'm going to make it medium, the weight of my font. And 14, and also the height is going to be 24, my height. And that way I can just center it, and my padding is 12 and 12. I can probably make it 16 if I wanted to, and that way my padding is 16 and 16. It doesn't change because we're not going to be using 2 lines here, so it's all about the padding. That's all we want, and also the line height. And then we want to make it a little bit bigger, and let's say that it's 8 pixels separated from my icon. And what else? And over here, we want it to be 24 pixels separated. There you go. So now it's 24, and then we also need a symbol for the notifications. So let's add a circle here. I'm going to add a circle. Nice circle, and I'm going to turn it red, and I'm going to center it. I want it to be 16 pixels high. That way I have a padding of 16 and 16 over here, and it's perfect. And I want to have a padding of 8 pixels over here. That way I'm using an 8 pixel grid. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I have it I have it there, 16 pixels, and I want to add another text layer on it. So let's try a big number, 88, just so we can do it here. And I'm going to change the size of it to 10. And there you go. I'm going to center it to this circle. Now that it's centered, I want to make it the size of the actual circle. And I want to center the alignment of the text. There you go. So I have it. It's perfect. And I have these 2 layers. And these 2 layers, I'm going to turn them into a symbol too. So let me just check. Yeah, this one is 16. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm going to select these 2, and I'm going to turn them into a symbol. Create a symbol, and I'm going to call it menu / notifications. This is my naming conventions. Always your naming conventions is whatever makes sense to you. Use the slash so you can group your symbols into in the grouping whenever you. That way, whenever you insert a symbol, you're able to find them in an easier way. Okay, so menu notifications. Cool. I have it now. It's a symbol, and I will be able to turn it off later. And actually, instead of 88, I want it to be I don't know. 88 was just for me testing that it actually looks good with a big number, but I actually want to start always with 2. There you go. Now it's 2, and I actually want to put this symbol over here. That way it's part of these guys, of my atoms. Okay, cool. We have this. Now we need a layer here that is going to be selectable. So it's the whenever I selected the cell. So I'm going to create a rectangle that is the size of the artboard. Just around there. I'm going to put it behind everything. And as I can see, apparently had a rectangle here. Where's the rectangle? Oh, there you go. It wasn't inside the artboard, apparently. There you go. Now it's inside the artboard. I'm going to put it all the way below. And I'm going to turn it white. And then the opacity is going to be 20% opacity. And that way I'm going to know when a cell is selected. And I need to turn this into a symbol. So I'm going to change the name of it to selected, state / selected. And I'm going to turn it into a symbol, state / selected. And cool. So I have my symbol over here. But actually, this symbol needs to be a different size from this guy. So this guy, I haven't turned it into a symbol too, but I want it to be a different size. Why? Why? So whenever I need to override this symbol, I don't get that same symbol. I don't want it to be that. This guy just need it to be a weird size. There you go. I need do it this weird size, and I can just change it over here whenever I'm using it. There you go. Now everything's looking good. I have my state. I can override it later and I can turn it off. And I have this. This is going to be my cell. So I'm going to create a symbol with all of this. And inside I have this is a symbol, this is a symbol, and I have this is a symbol. So I'm using 3 symbols inside here. I'm actually going to change the, I'm going to put home, my text label all the way to the top. Then after that, it should be my icon. And then it should be my notifications. And I actually want to change the name of this here. I'm going to call it notifications. I don't need the slash here on the name of it. I'm going to call this icon, and I'm going to call this, instead of home, I'm going to call it label. And then the state, I'm just going to call it state. There you go. So I have it ready. I'm going to turn this artboard into a symbol. I'm going to create a symbol from an artboard. Yeah. Okay. So I create a symbol. Now it's a symbol. So here is my symbol. This is just an instance of the symbol. I'm going to turn it off. But this is my actual symbol. So I'm going to call it something else. I'm going to call it menu / cell. There you go. Almost ready. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. Okay, so we have this, and now we can actually start building a menu, creating a symbol with a menu. You can actually just use this on your design and just use this if you want to, and just create your menu on your actual design. But I want to create also the big menu to be its own symbol too. So for that, we need to add the cell inside a different symbol. So let's go ahead to do that. But one of the requirements too that we had was adding the avatar pic name and company name. So that's going to be another thing that is going to be inside my menu. But before getting to that, let's build the actual menu, and then inside the menu, let's build that apart because just building it on the abstract is going to be a little bit weird. So I'm going to create another artboard, and this artboard around this size, which let's say that it's 180, my width, and the I don't know, my 768 as the height, just for us to see it there. There you go. And first of all, before anything, I actually want to go back to this symbol and put the resizing options to all my elements so they're perfect. So over here, this guy should actually be pinned to the corner. That way, it's always a padding here from the right. It's always the same, and it's always centered too, because it's not pinned only to this corner. Since it's centered, it's going to be pinned to all of these two corners. So I'm going to say, instead of stretch, pin to corner. For this icon, I'm going to also say pin to corner. And this little guy is going to be, I'm going to make it, instead of stretch, I'm going to say resize object. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. A little bit smaller, sorry. There you go. And let's see it. Let's actually put an instance of it over here. I'm going to add a symbol, menu, cell. I'm going to put it over here. You cannot see anything right now because the background is white. So I'm going to change the color of this. But I'm not going to change the color of the artboard. I'm actually going to insert the color symbol. So I'm going to go to palette, and I'm going to insert the one that is called primary. And it's going to hurt our eyes because this color is really bright. Put it all the way to the back. There you go. I'm going to make it the size of my artboard. But this is a symbol. This is a symbol that I'm using as a color. And now I have this. I can make this smaller. And see how when I make it smaller, my notifications is just there. It doesn't stretch. It's keeping the same padding, and it's perfect. So I'm going to make it 180 pixels wide. And this guy should also be 180, my background color. There you go. Perfect. We have our first cell. We can start adding more cells if we want to build our menu. But let's build the first part first, the part with the avatar and all that. So I'm going to add an oval here. I'm going to make it, I don't know, let's make it 48 pixels. What do you say? And I'm going to keep it, 48 pixels, and I'm going to keep it 16 pixels, the separation from the top. I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to add a photo to it. So I'm going to go to plugins, tiny faces, fill with high quality. And there you go. I have a really cool photo of someone. And now let's add a text layer that is going to be the name. So let's call her Frida Felix. Oops, sorry. Frida Felix. And it's 8 pixels of the padding here. It's looking good. I'm going to make this the size of it, and I'm actually going to add 8 pixels of padding too. So 1, 2, that's 16 pixels. I center it, perfect. And I'm going to add another one. This one is going to be the company name. So this one is going to be called, I don't know, Lucas Corp. Sorry, I have no imagination. I'm going to change this to probably heavy. And this guy is going to be just a book. Sorry, Roman. There you go, Roman. It's looking good. And I'm going to change these so they are, well, right now I cannot do anything because they're not part of a group on the resizing. Let's actually turn this into a symbol. So I'm going to go ahead and add a rectangle just for my padding. There you go. So this is going to be 16 pixels here, 16 pixels here. That's looking good. I'm going to select all of this and I'm going to turn it into a symbol. That's going to be my header of my menu. I like it. Let's turn it into a symbol. So I'm going to call it menu slash, oh, hold on. I'm not selecting the background. Oh, I was selecting the background. No, we don't want to select the background, only this. So create a symbol. It's going to be called menu slash, what do you want to call it? Top nap. Top. That's it. So I have it here. I'm going to actually put it over here inside my molecules or whatever these are called. So menu top, I'm going to delete this. I just need it for the sizing of it. I'm going to add a background color that is dark. That way I can see what's going on, but I'm not including it in the export. So I have it here. My symbol is here and it doesn't have a background color. Cool stuff, right? So now I have my cell. I'm going to put it right next to it. So there's zero padding here. And that's my first cell. I'm going to add more cells here. And there you go. this is another cell, and this cell is going to have the state is not selected. Let's say that it has no notifications, so that's none. And also here, instead of glib home, I'm going to go to glib, instead of, oh, all these are called home, I'm realizing. I never changed the name of these. Okay, sorry about that. Let's change the name of these. So here, instead of home, this should be called settings. This, instead of home, should be called user. This, instead of home, should be called calendar. Always take care of the namings of your layers and your symbols. It's very important, because if not, somebody else is going to open your documents and is going to be very confused. And also yourself, you're going to be very confused, just like, what the hell? So there you go, glib settings. And here, instead of the label home, I'm going to call it settings. There you go. And let's duplicate multiple times. There you go, 5. And then this one, instead of settings, is going to be messages. And here, the glib is going to be the messages one. This one is going to be calendar. And here, let's change it to the calendar glyph. This one is going to be the glyph that is the user. And let's call it users. There you go. It's looking good. This is awesome, right? We got it. This is pretty cool. We can turn this into a symbol. But before that, we need to start saying, how are these guys going to behave? So right now, they are, they're not part of a symbol, so there's no resizing options, but we're going to fix that in a moment. Before that, let's add a logo here. So a logo, let's say that is called, what was the name of the company again? Chichi Lucas? Okay, let's call it Chichi. Chichi, and it's going to be a very bold, heavy font. That is my logo. And let's put it a little bit better branding. Come on, guys, we can do better, right? So there you go, and let's make it a little bit bigger. There you go. Now we're designing a really bad logo. Sorry about that. Let's center this so it looks a little bit better. There you go. And let's say that, I don't know why, but this is flipped because we're creative. There you go. Now it looks more like a logo, right? No, actually, I don't like it. I hate it. Okay, hold on. I have an idea. No. Let's keep it like that. Yeah. That's a logo. I don't know. It's bad. So okay. So now we have that. That's a logo. Let's make this dark at 50%. There you go. We have our logo ready, and let's turn this into a symbol that is going to call brand logo. I don't know why. There you go. And now we have this guy, and let's actually make it bigger because it's really small. Let's scale it up. Instead of 49, let's just scale it up to 32 pixels. It's a little bit bigger. There you go. It's going to look better. There you go. Let's put it in our brand's elements over here. And here I want my padding to be 16 pixels. I want to center it to my artboard. Now it's looking good. Looking good. That's really big. But anyway, okay. So we have that. We have our logo. We have this. Now we can turn this into a symbol. Let's turn it into a symbol, create symbol, the whole artboard, and let's call it, it's going to be called menu left nav. There you go. And we can see an instance here of that same menu. How cool is that? Okay, we have it, and now we can actually start changing the different resizing and positioning of it, because it's very, this one, for example, you want it to be pinned to the corner. Let's see, let's actually test it. So I'm going to insert menu left nav. Let's insert it here, and let's just start resizing and see what happens. So right now the elements are actually not that bad. They're behaving really good. Let's see what happens if I resize it this way. This is where things start getting weird. Look at this logo. that back here. I want, number one, I want these menus to always stay there the same. And I want this to always have the same padding and always just have the same size. So this guy has to be pinned to the corner. Bow, and see how it changes here. And these guys, I actually want it to be resized, so that way the resize from left to right. So let's say resize object. But when I say resize, then see how it's still like it's still not behaving the right way. See how those text layers are just like, no, they're not behaving the right way, right? So what I want to do here, and probably leave in the comments if you have a better way to do this, but here's what I can do. I'm going to actually create a group out of this. I'm going to create a group, and then this group, I'm going to call it my cells group, and then this group with the auto layout plugin, I'm going to pin it to the top, pin it to the left and to the right. And then also here, this element, instead of stretch, is going to say pinned corner. And now that it's pinned to the corner, it's just going to always be the same. It's always the same, but it's also pinned to the left and to the right from here. That means that it would also resize. When I resize it like this, see the background here, this background is also resizing. If I were not to do that, let's see what happens if I don't do that. If I don't use my auto layout plugin, see how it's just pinned to the corner, but it's also not resizing. If I were to use resize, let's see if resize actually works. And resize does this weird thing. So that's why I'm using pin to corner. I'm combining the native resizing options, and I'm also using the auto layout one that says, hey, pin to the left and pin to the right, resize to. How cool is that? Now I can just like play around with my sizes on my design, and it's going to be just fine. So that's why we needed to have the auto layout plugin. This is the main thing that we wanted to use auto layout for. So okay, it's looking good. Probably, I'm realizing that the icons are a little bit too bright. They're too white. So I can go back to my menu cell over here, and I can change the opacity of it. So probably instead of 100%, let's change it to 60%. There you go. Probably 80%, not too bad. And then I can do the same with my white. Instead of 100%, I can change it to, I don't know, 80% too. And that way it's not as bright. And that's it. It's looking good. Now I can put it on my actual design. I can go over here and I can put an instance of it. I'm going to create an iPad. Yeah, let's create an iPad portrait. And let's start the symbol, menu, left nav. Let's put it here. It's probably not the best for iPad. You probably an iPad, you want it to be a little bit bigger, but just so I have the navigation to test it. There you go. Look at that. Pretty cool stuff, right? So yeah, you can also do with this the same as we saw before, where you can recreate this symbol. Just create another instance, duplicate this one, and then this, instead of using the this one, you can probably just use the icon, and that way you have a minified version of that. But that's something that you can do by yourself. I would love to see your creations. Put a link to your dribble, put a link to your Behance, all of that stuff, so other people can see the stuff that you're making with Sketch or whatever your design tool you're using. I would love to see that. And also, we created we added a Facebook group where all the people here, they go there, that are here on the videos, they go over there and we just share different things. We share, we ask questions, and the community is there to help each other. So it's pretty cool, which you should join the Facebook group. I have a link down there. And that's it. Hopefully you learned a lot from this, and hopefully you get to design a lot of cool stuff with this. Okay, so see you in the next one. It was a pleasure to do this. Bye-bye.